We're here at the AI show with Raj Purohit. She is the go-to-market leader for OpenAI. You may have seen her because she's everywhere. She's travels the whole world and is at all of these amazing events talking about the incredible things that ChatGPT EDU has been doing. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a kind intro.
No, really. So first off, for people who don't know about ChatGPT EDU, which is, a whole segment of the ChatGPT ecosystem, tell us what it is and what are some of the sort of main pillars of the strategy?
So, ChatGPT EDU is our enterprise product designed for universities and school districts. So, it brings a lot more privacy and security to like that kind of workspace setting. And it lets professors create solutions only for their classes or administrators create things across the campus and enable a lot of AI touchpoints. Our aspiration is that in the future, we'll have a lot of AI native universities and school districts. And what our current thinking around that is that there'll be multiple AI touchpoints that guide the student faculty journey across their campus. So they're able to converse with the knowledge of that campus much more deeply through like an orientation GPT or a classroom GPT that lets them engage with that content. So we're currently working with a number of universities and school districts to deploy this, and that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know there's a big California State University deployment, which is a humongous system. Tell us about that.
So California State University bought 500,000 seats for their faculty, students, and staff. It's the biggest deployment of ChatGPT around the world, like even when you compare to enterprise and others. And it's like really powerful because CSU has been such a like cornerstone of economic mobility for Californians. And now we're bringing AI literacy to them, which is like so exciting, and these tools to be able to build more. So we've been rolling this out for the past couple of months now.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And, California pioneered the sort of tiered college system with the community colleges, state colleges, and the university system. And the community colleges are embracing AI right now, and the state colleges are embracing AI. And I think it's going to be a real, harbinger of things to come in the college world because California's always been ahead in this way. There's sort of been models of it. So it's really exciting to see. I think you also rolled out to Estonia. Did I get that right?
That's right.
What's that about?
11th and 12th graders all across Estonia are going to get access.
Amazing.
Similar to California, Estonia has always been a leader, like first to start doing digital elections and things like that. So I'm very excited that they're going to be rolling this out for students. And it's going to be one of our first K-12 deployments as well. So thinking a lot about how to enable educators in the K-12 system to engage with students and make sure that the work output like helps them build new skills.
Yeah, and for observers of this space, higher ed has been a pretty natural sweet spot for the education entry point for a lot of these providers. But the fact that already K-12, we're starting to see K-12, deployments is surprising to me, frankly, because K-12 sometimes can be a little conservative, or there's a lot of compliance in it. It's really exciting to see it. You guys really taking it on and trying to get these tools into the hands of the next generation who absolutely need them. Other things that have launched recently, OpenAI Academy. Tell us about OpenAI Academy.
OpenAI Academy is this a big bet that we're taking from our global affairs team, led by my colleague Alex Navar. And basically, the idea is how do we increase AI literacy for different groups around the world? The early focus is groups such as students, K 12 educators, older adults, and we're creating content in collaboration with partners to help them learn how to use AI more effectively. So, our student series has a bunch of videos on how to use ChatGPT for your campus. Like, how do you do research better with it? How do you do career preparation better? And how do you actually use the tool like in a more sophisticated way than just writing emails and correcting like language that way? So great series. We're going to have a lot more content there, and it's a free academy for anyone to join online.
Free and open, which makes a lot of sense. So it's really exciting. I mean, there's just more and more and more. Oh, there was just an announcement that ChatGPT Plus, the normally behind a paywall model, is free for college students in the U.S. I think through the end of this academic year.
Through the end of May, yes.
Through the end of May. Tell us more about that decision. That's really interesting.
So what we realized is that our largest group of users is between 18 to 24. So prime college age, yeah, when you're trying to discover like what kinds of subject matters are interesting to you, you dive into new areas, you build new projects. A lot of unicorn companies come out of college dorms.
True.
So I think to enable that at audience, we've enabled ChatGPT Plus for free. Any student with a .edu email in US and Canada can sign up for that. And it runs for the next 2 months, so until the end of May. which is also the most busy time for students
Oh, yeah.
on
It's going to be
campuses.
great for studying for finals and doing dissertations, and yeah, it's a really interesting moment. And Sam Altman has mentioned, he's expecting the first, single person $1 billion company, any day now. I don't know exactly what the quote is, but you can see that, it's very possible that those will start in college campuses around the world
Alex,
and
one
in
of
the
the
US.
interesting things I heard recently was Jeffrey Busking, who's a professor at Harvard Business School,
Yeah.
said that people used to come to HBS to get a job, and now he's like, we encourage them to only come to create a job. Because the MBA employment scene has obviously changed a lot,
Yes.
but he's like, your ability to build a company while you're here has gone up a lot too. So providing the frameworks and the tools to kind of have AI be your co-founder and actually scale that up, find product market fit yourself.
Have AI be your co-founder. I love that. What an interesting phrase. Oh, I'm gonna get that one's gonna stick with me. I love that. So one thing that I've been playing with a lot and posting on LinkedIn about, but it's just so cool, is the OpenAI's new image generation. Just came out last week, I believe, maybe a week and a half ago now, and it is very quickly sort of establishing itself as best in class, if not, very best in class. It's created this sort of worldwide Ghibli studio Ghibliization of everything, but it also is an incredible tool for educators. You can create charts and graphs. You can create, I mean, you could just do anything you can imagine, really, in a lot of ways, with stylistic input and with reference images. It's really quite amazing. Tell us about that. I mean, I'm sure that inside the OpenAI world, I'm sure you're tickled at all the things that people are making with the image generation. And, in the past, it's been sort of sending out to diffusion models elsewhere, but now it's all integrated, and it's really exciting to see. What do you
Very
see as
smooth
education?
experience, I
It really
feel.
is.
And it makes it like very like cute and like rewarding to get that. I think you're just like there's like a connection you feel with those images, because at some point they kind of a lot of times they personify like the human images that you share, which is nice. Some people say it's like a privacy layer on top of your photos, which is an interesting way to think
I
about
never
it.
thought of it that way. That's
So a
fascinating.
lot of people like I think Sam Altman shared a picture of this baby, and it was just like a privacy screen for them, but also
Right.
being able to share that magical moment.
That's really interesting.
So I think in education, what we're starting to see is that professors are able to create images for their lectures and their online content much more easily than ever before. As we know, they had instructional design teams that would actually have to create all of this, and now professors can kind of whip up anything that they imagine very quickly. So I think it's going to bring a lot more like flavor and culture to classes because you're going to be able to visualize that content in different ways. So like the early ones I've seen are obviously the solar system and different pieces around that, right? The biology elements around it. Being able to like visualize these things in a very fun, creative way, which resonates with Gen Z.
Exactly.
What I'm hoping to see more of is like ways that we can kind of combine all of like the different, like, I mean, enable multimodality more in education
Yeah.
and let professors engage with students the way that they learn the best.
Yeah. Well, so let me push you on that because I think I agree, and I think there's some really interesting opportunities there. I mean, do you see a world where you go to ChatGPT on your phone, ask it a question in a voice input, and what comes back is the voice output combined with images that they're creating in real time, so you can learn a whole thing without literally ever reading a word?
I hope that's the future. It feels like it's going to be just because our models are kind of coming together. All of this technology is becoming like embedded together.
Yep.
I used to work at Udacity about 10 years ago, and at that time we were trying to build the Hollywood of education. It was an expensive endeavor for us. We spent a lot of money per nano degree we built because of how high quality it had to be. And now the cost of doing that has just gone down so much. Like exactly like you said, you can have a conversation, all of these different videos and images can come up and together and create this kind of like fantasy journey for you to learn an educational concept.
Yes. Yes, and of course Sora, which is also, which is the OpenAI's video creation, is also part of the mix there too. So it feels like when we're here, sitting here a year from now talking, there may be some version of, teach me about this, and it uses images that create graphs, but also stock footage and all these different stock images, then video out of those images and voice, and you can just have this entire learning experience, maybe even immersive at some point, but this incredible experience that is just so distant from what we think of as the current chatbot conversational text experience that we're all starting to take for granted as what AI looks like.
Basically, it feels like personalized movies could come up for each of the concepts you're looking to learn.
Yes.
And when you think about like the soft skills we're trying to teach the next generation, it
Yes.
might be a phenomenal way to do that.
Yes.
How do you teach empathy? How do you teach the ability to inspire? And how like better can you get than like having this kind of interactive video and that you might be a character in as well?
Yeah. So, you and I both came from the MOOC world. I was at Coursera, you were at Udacity. We used to look at the Hollywood of education. Your videos were totally amazing. But one thing that I think has been a complaint, and very reasonable complaint from learning designers, instructional designers for many years, is that video and text and even audio content it can be incredibly powerful, but it's also a very solo experience, right? The idea of like, oh, I'll ask it and it'll create this amazing movie or something just for me. It's really a beautiful vision, but learning can also be collaborative, and AI can be used to build relationships. I'm sure this comes up a lot and people ask you a lot about it. I'm curious how OpenAI thinks about, ensuring that the future is not person and computer in a windowless room together, because I don't think anybody truly wants that to be the future, even if the tech is incredible.
And one thing I think a lot about it in terms of the future of education, especially in K-12, we still want the social clustering.
Yes.
Like we still want our children to be with other peers around their age socially to be able to build those skills, even if they're learning at different paces with AI tools. Coming back to how AI can enable social collaboration, right now, our early foray into this has been through tools such as like custom GPTs where you can have multiple editors in the workspace. So you can kind of collaborate with your like colleagues on building these custom GPTs. Canvas is like an interesting collaboration tool when you can kind of edit the docs together. So I think the idea is that we obviously know people work very well together, and AI initially was a solo experience. How do we bring that closer so you can collaborate, see the same types of videos and outputs, and experience that journey together?
Yeah, I can imagine people working in sort of on a joint project where they're all doing inputs to the same set of tools. In whether it's in real time or asynchronously, but working together and then with the power of AI to generate answers and be a part of the group, as your co-founder, as your colleague, or your
And
teaching
tweak and
assistant.
prompt together.
Exactly, tweak and prompt together. That sounds like a dance move. I like that. Um, it's an incredibly exciting time. So you've been talking to colleges about. You mentioned this idea of an AI native university.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit more about what that vision looks like? I think that's something that the university world and the higher ed world is probably very curious about what it would mean to be AI native at this point.
So we work very closely with provost, presidents, and deans to define that for their campus. And each campus is taking a little bit of a different flavor to it. Some campuses are like, "Oh, the problems we need to solve because we're major like state school is around navigation and being able to help our students find the right tools and support, even if they may not have human access at that time. Other campuses, like small liberal arts schools, are like, hey, we figured this part out. Like, we have a lot of student support, but we want to be able to help them dive more deeply into knowledge and conversations that matter to them. Like, how can they debate different types of issues and how society should look, for example, with AI? So each campus has a little bit of a different flavor to it. And what we're trying to do is figure out where AI can fit to enable that vision and how to make that experience much more seamless and deep for people who are on campus so they can converse with the knowledge of the campus more deeply.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So one more question just about other pieces of the AI ecosystem. OpenAI has just been moving so quickly. Deep research, incredibly important education tool, and 4.5, and the sort of future of the underlying LLM model. I'd love to hear you talk about, both.
So, deep research is obviously a very powerful tool to get very interesting insights on anything you're interested in. What I'm most excited about for deep research, though, is that our early models faced a lot of problems and hallucinations. We all know this, right? Like early AI models across all companies did. And that was because they were really agreeable in nature. They wanted
Right.
to please you as a user,
Right.
and they agreed with you. Now our models have become like less agreeable. They push back more. They like reference the right sources. But deep research takes that to the next level. It showcases all the sources it collated, it compares different sources, kind of makes its own inference on what is most relevant for you to read.
Yeah.
And I think it provides a very good, unbiased picture of like whatever subject you're looking to learn in. So I think it's a great tool, especially for people in education.
Yeah.
I love like going down the rabbit hole of just learning about new concepts and deep research.
Yeah.
So that's been powerful.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead, please. No.
and 4.5 just brings a lot more emotional intelligence to the game. So much smarter, much more cultural nuance. So when you compare and like compile these kind of pieces, it just gives you a nuanced understanding of the world.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I agree with the deep research. I was just going to say I've done it as well when I'm researching a topic for an interview or just want to learn more about something. You can just ask it a question, and it takes long. It's a different kind of model. It takes a few minutes.
Takes over 10 minutes sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, but then it comes out with it's like we've searched 25 different sources and every single thing is cited, and it's like basically writes a research paper for you in real time. It is quite incredible, and I can imagine it just takes learning to the next level. Anything you want to learn more about, instead of having to sort of figure out all the prompts and have it as a conversation, you can just be like, give me the executive summary, give me the download, who's talking about this, who's saying what about this, let's put it all together. It's really exciting. And then 4.5, obviously the underlying models are the engines behind all of it. It's incredibly exciting to see that competition is on among all the big frontier models, but it's also really, it's just continuing to move very quickly, which has been a thrill.
And as far as cultural changes go in education, I hope it also shows that like these AI models are not just places to get quick answers.
Right.
You can do very like deep thinking with these platforms. And I think my aspiration for students right now is to help them see how AI can help elevate their thinking more than just like get small wins in terms of assignment.
Yeah, I always say when I talk to people about who are new to AI that people bring the sort of web search paradigm to it. They're like, because we're all so used to web search, you think, oh, AI, you can get answers. So I'll ask it a question, I'll get an answer, and that's great. And it's like that's really just the scratching the tiniest bit of the surface. It can give you feedback. You can use it for reflection. You can use it for deep research. You can use it to create enormous projects over time.
A lot of exploration in life
Yeah.
can happen with AI.
Totally, and you can argue with it. You can debate it. You can ask it to role play. I mean, it's the possibilities are so endless, and I think people, as soon as they sort of break through their existing paradigm, sort of unlearn how to use a system like this, they're off to the races. It's been really amazing to see more and more people do it. Have you seen more with students? That's my last question for you. I'm curious. You've talked to students who use OpenAI. Power users all the time. What does that look like?
One of the things I keep talking to students about is how they need to push back on AI more.
Exactly.
A lot of students take the first or second output and just use that.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, no, like I tell it to be like less salesy, be more strategic, think like the COO of a rocket ship company, think like a Nobel laureate in the field, right? Like just help it, like push it harder to do better work, to have you become a better knowledge worker.
That's a great point. And you can inject your own ideas too. You say, "Oh, you just said this, but I would have done this. Can you help me understand why this? Compare these two ideas and which one might make more sense." It'll follow your prompt, and it's less sycophantic. It won't just be like, "Oops, I'm sorry, you're right." That's where it started. But it'll be like, "Oh, okay, let's put it together. Let's think it through." It's amazing for like a sort of thought partner.
I love telling it like, this is my personality, this is my manager's personality, this is the kind of output I'm looking for.
Exactly.
So like help me
Exactly.
craft that narrative together.
Exactly. Yeah. You mentioned how you become like a superpower user, just use it for, which it makes total sense. It's really exciting. Raj Purohit is the education go-to-market leader at OpenAI, doing really amazing work all over the world. Follow her work at OpenAI and check out OpenAI Academy. Thanks for being here with us at EdTech Insiders at the AI Show.
Thanks, Alex.